Hey friends, today I'm going to walk you through how to make this beautiful little primrose. And if you like this video, go ahead and check the larger video for the wildflower bouquet where this primrose is featured. And then you can learn how to make all of these other flowers as well. We're gonna go ahead and get started, and I am gonna tell you a little cheat sheet on how to get started with all of these. So down below in my description, I will have links to the PDF patterns to print all of these patterns onto freezer paper. Some of them will have SVGs. I think all of them pretty much can be SVGs. Sometimes more hand-cut crazy flowers you can't make into an SVG because, let me just back up there. An SVG file would be for your Silhouette Cameo or your Cricut Maker. You can't quite make those into cut files because they're just like, the machine just can't handle it. Well, that's when these handy dandy freezer paper stencils come in handy so that you can cut all your flower petals out by hand and make them look basically the same every single time. It just kind of takes the guesswork and the frustration out of like, oh, I cut that wrong. We're gonna take a little bit of felt here. This is in my parchment color. This is just a primrose pattern that I created here. Take our iron and on high cotton with the steam off, lay the shiny side down and melt that shiny wax down a bit so that way it sticks and kind of like self-glues to our felt. Make sure you're doing it on a heat-safe surface and not your cutting mat because I'll tell you from experience, you will melt them. I'm gonna get rid of that bad boy and we are gonna go use our fancy long shears here and just cut the shape out. And it is as simple as just following the lines. So I'm gonna come back and get that corner. Just because it's from this direction, it's just a little hard to get it. So we're gonna do a first cut and then a second cut here. Like so. And I love using these big, long scissors because it just gives a really nice, long, clean cut. So we're just gonna go back in and cut these little corners off here too. Okay, so once you have the stencil on there cut out, all you do is, oops, don't rip it. If you do rip it, you can't reuse it. And just gently pull it off. And then you've got a nice piece of felt cut out. It's perfect every single time. Okay, so we're gonna take this green felt here now. We're just gonna take a really small little square. I'm talking like maybe a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch little square here. And we're gonna just kind of round off these corners just a little bit. Does not have to be perfect at all. I mean, look at that shape. It is not a perfect circle, not a perfect any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so we're gonna get an 18 gauge wire here. Oops, lost my felt. And we are going to apply a little bit of glue to that. Be careful with this because this glue is hot and you're a small piece. And we're gonna fold it over our wire and kind of just, I'm literally just pinching it and twisting right here. And that's gonna make just kind of like this little bud shape right on the end. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is this is a very, very pale, pale yellow. And it's straw color. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut just a snippet off of that. And this is, wow, my lines really suck today. 2 by 1 inches. I'm probably not gonna use the full length of this, but I like to have more than I need and then trim off excess than not have enough. Okay, so now we're gonna do really, really long, really, really thin little snips with our snip scissors, and we're gonna go as thin as we can without being too thin that they're gonna break off. And I'm going about 3/4 of an inch in, and about a 1/4 inch is left untouched. One more snip. Okay, and this is gonna be kind of like our frill stamens on the inside. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna attach it here. We're gonna fan it as we go. So this is probably enough for at least 2 of them. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the bottom. And then I'm gonna put my little bud right at the base where my cut line stopped. And I'm gonna really, really tightly roll it around here. Like so. And then we're gonna trim off this excess. And it's about right here. So yeah, I've got all of this extra from that 2 by 1 inch piece. So you can use this probably for the other 2, to be honest. But that is your center. And if you really pinch that base underneath that little bud piece, that's what's gonna allow those frills to kind of like spread out and open instead of just being like really closed off. So it just gives you a nice little opening there. So now we're gonna take our wire and just twist it right in between our petal till it kind of just makes a hole, and then bring it to the top. Okay, so we're gonna put a little bit of glue here right at the base of one petal here. I'm gonna kind of pinch it and bring it up the center of the flower, and we're gonna do that. This wire is just too long for me right now, and it is getting in the way, so get rid of it. So we're gonna do the same thing all the way around. Just kind of pinch and push up. Pinch and push up. And then last one. And then our center kind of got a little smushied over, so I'm just gonna bring those back in center. Now you could leave your flower like this, but I'm gonna show you 2 different ways to make it just a little bit more fun. One way is to grab your pliers. You can do this with your fingers too. I like the pliers, it just gives a better grip and saves my finger a little bit. And you're just gonna kind of grab the petal and pull and twist. And that's gonna kind of give it a little bit more dimension and just character in your petal, like so. Versus, so you can see the difference between this one and this one. Another way to do it is I have this little mini hair straightener that I like to use, and I just grip and pull and twist with a little bit of heat, and then it does the exact same thing. So you can do this with your fingers, you could do this with pliers, or you can just leave it the way it was without doing any of it. So there you go, that's it. That is your little primrose. All right, I hope you loved making this cute little primrose today, and be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified for all of the fun new flowers that are coming out and learn all the tips and tricks that come with felt flower making. And if you like this video, this is a very small snippet of the full series on the wildflower bouquet.